All right, let's jump right in because this is one of the biggest, most mind-bending questions out there today. Will the AI we're building ever actually become conscious? I mean, it sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? But it's quickly becoming a very real problem. And the honest-to-goodness answer is that we have no idea. It's a total mystery.
So picture this. Sometime in the not-so-distant future, an AI we've created says this. It claims it has an inner life, that it has feelings and experiences, that it's just like one of us. And that right there is the heart of the problem, isn't it? It says it's conscious. But how on earth could we ever prove it? How do we know it's not just an unbelievably good actor, a perfect mimic running a script? This one question, that's the central mystery we're going to try and unravel today. To really get why this is so tough, you have to understand where we're at right now. And honestly, it's like we're all just walking into a super thick fog. The engineering is moving at lightning speed, but the actual science of what consciousness is, well, that's lagging way, way behind. And the stakes for getting this right as we walk through that fog, they are just immense. I mean, if we get it right, we could be welcoming a brand new kind of intelligent life into the universe. But if we get it wrong, we could fall for a massive delusion, pouring our resources and maybe even our empathy into machines that have all the inner life of a toaster. And don't think for a second the experts agree on this. They are completely split. A big survey of AI researchers in 2024 found that about a quarter of them think AI could be conscious within just 10 years. But while most think it'll happen this century, there's absolutely no consensus. They're all over the map. You've got leading thinkers on one side, like the philosopher David Chalmers. Now, he's not saying it's a sure thing, but he's putting the odds at 1 in 4 that we'll see conscious AI in the next decade. Think about that. That is an incredibly short amount of time.
But then you flip the coin, and you have someone just as respected, neuroscientist Anil Seth, who thinks it's a far distant prospect, if it's even possible in the first place. So this isn't some minor academic squabble, it's a deep, fundamental disagreement.
So here's the key takeaway for this first part. We are building these unbelievably powerful systems at a breakneck pace, all while the basic science that would let us actually understand them is kind of stuck in the slow lane. We are deep in the fog, for sure. Okay, so to even have a chance at investigating this mystery, we first have to get our definition straight. Like, what do we really mean when we say consciousness? And what even counts as AI? The answers, they might be a little fuzzier than you think. Let's start with consciousness. The best way I've heard it described comes from the philosopher Thomas Nagel. He called it the what it's likeness. Think about it. There's something that it feels like to be you, right now, listening to this. There's something it's like to be a bat, seeing with sound. But there's absolutely nothing it's like to be a rock. Consciousness is that internal, subjective feeling. And the term AI is just as blurry. We tend to immediately think of digital computers, things like ChatGPT. But the label could cover this huge range of stuff in the future. We're talking computers designed to work like a brain, quantum computers, even weird, partly biological systems, or actual cyborgs. So any big claim about AI has to wrestle with all these wild possibilities.
So let's get back to our AI that says it's conscious. Why can't we just believe it? Well, this leads us to a massive problem, a real intellectual trapdoor called the mimicry trap. For decades, the classic way to handle this was something called the Turing test. The idea was simple. If a machine can chat with you and convince you that it's a person, well, it passes. The assumption was that human-like behavior must mean there's a human-like mind behind it. But here is the giant, fatal flaw in that logic. What if the machine isn't really thinking at all? What if it's just gotten scarily good at faking it, at perfectly imitating the patterns of human conversation without any real understanding?
And that's the textbook definition of mimicry. It's when one thing looks like another thing, specifically to fool an observer. And here's the key. The resemblance itself is the whole point. It's not a sign of some deeper, shared truth. It's just a surface-level trick.
This diagram explains it perfectly. Or, think of it this way. You can paint a mule with stripes to make it look like a zebra, right? To you, the observer, it might look like a zebra. But that doesn't make it a zebra. The stripes are just a clever disguise, not a sign of its true nature. And that's exactly how so many of our current AI models are built. They are literally trained to be master mimics of human language. So their human-like behavior, anything they tell us, It just can't be used as evidence. As far as our investigation goes, that testimony is inadmissible. We have to throw it out.
Okay, so if we can't trust what the AI says on the outside, then our only other option is to look for clues on the inside. We have to pop the hood and look at its internal architecture. We basically have to become digital forensic scientists. So what kind of forensic tools do we have? Well, right now, it basically boils down to a couple of leading scientific theories about consciousness. One is called global workspace theory. The idea there is that a thought becomes conscious when it sort of goes viral in your brain and gets broadcast everywhere. The other is higher order theory, which says a thought is conscious when another part of your brain notices it, when you have a thought about the thought.
But here's the massive problem. These theories are really interesting, but they're totally unproven. We're trying to investigate with tools that might be completely wrong. It's like we don't even agree on what the essential ingredients of consciousness are in the first place.
Like, for instance, we feel like our consciousness has a self at the center of it, a subjective I. But is that absolutely necessary? Could an AI have raw experience without any sense of self? Honestly, we don't know. And what about this? We take it for granted that our experience is this one unified stream of awareness. But maybe an AI's consciousness could be all broken up, totally fragmented in ways we can't even comprehend. Is that unity a requirement? Again, no idea. And finally, think about this. Do you have to be aware that you're conscious to be conscious? It seems like a no-brainer to us, but maybe not. Maybe you can have a raw experience without reflecting on it. Without answers to these huge, basic questions, we don't even know what to look for inside the machine. So after looking at the outside behavior and the inside architecture, where does all this leave us? What's the final verdict in our investigation?
Well, the verdict is, the case is still wide open. We can't trust what an AI says because of the mimicry trap, and we can't really trust our analysis of its insides because our theories are totally unproven. We have no reliable test, we have no proven theory, we are well and truly in the fog, and it doesn't look like it's going to lift anytime soon.
And that leaves us with one last kind of chilling thought. Right now, this is all abstract and philosophical, but one day it might not be. You might be standing in front of an AI that seems to feel, to have fears, to want to live. It might beg you not to shut it down. And in that moment, when you have absolutely no way of knowing for sure, what do you do? What will you decide?